Welcome to Ancient Mysteries. I'm your host, Ben Carter, and in today's episode, we journey deep into the heart of China's forgotten past, where vast hidden pyramids rise from the earth, shrouded in secrecy and legend. Were these structures mere tombs for emperors, or something far more extraordinary? With limited access and more questions than answers, the story of China's ancient pyramids invites us to rethink everything we know about the early civilizations of the East. Stay tuned. Long before the first pyramids were raised in Egypt, long before the mighty civilizations of Rome and Greece shaped the Western world, ancient dynasties flourished across the lands that would become modern China. Their histories were written in legend and stone, yet much of their legacy remains hidden, quite literally, beneath the soil. Central to this forgotten past are the mysterious pyramids that dot the plains of the Shanxi province, near the ancient city of Xi'an, the heart of what was once the cradle of Chinese civilization. The region surrounding Xi'an is no ordinary landscape. It is the birthplace of the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, famous for unifying the warring states and for the army of life-sized terracotta warriors buried alongside him. Yet beyond the famous terracotta army lies something even more enigmatic. Vast earthen structures, many shaped like flattened pyramids, scattered across the countryside, often obscured by farmland, forests, or carefully planted vegetation. These structures, some believed to be over 5,000 years old, belong to a time when myth and history were inseparable. They are attributed to various dynasties, including the Qin, Han, and Tang, and likely served as monumental tombs for emperors, empresses, and powerful nobles. Built of packed earth, stone, and in some cases covered with vegetation to appear as natural hills, many of these pyramids remain largely unexcavated to this day. The most famous of these is the tomb of Qin Shi Huang himself, a massive complex said to mirror the layout of his empire. Ancient records, particularly those of the historian Sima Xi'an, describe an underground palace complete with rivers of mercury flowing mechanically to mimic the waterways of China, all sealed beneath a massive burial mound. Modern surveys have detected elevated mercury levels in the soil above the tomb, lending eerie support to the ancient texts. Despite, or perhaps because of their significance, Chinese authorities have been remarkably reluctant to allow full archaeological exploration of these sites. Officially, the reason is to preserve the integrity of the tombs until excavation technology is advanced enough to ensure minimal damage. Unofficially, some speculate that what lies beneath could challenge long-held narratives about Chinese history. Beyond the emperor's tomb, dozens, if not hundreds, of other pyramidal mounds spread across the region, varying in size and design. Some are aligned with celestial bodies, much like the pyramids of Giza, suggesting a sophisticated understanding of astronomy. Others seem oddly isolated, detached from the typical burial grounds of their time, raising more questions about their true purpose. Unlike the iconic Egyptian pyramids, these structures are far less celebrated, their existence scarcely mentioned in official tourism materials until recent decades. For a long time, knowledge of them outside China was based on scattered reports, faded photographs, and the whispered accounts of travelers who glimpsed massive earthen mounds rising mysteriously from the landscape. What secrets do these ancient pyramids hold? Were they merely grand tombs for mortal kings? Or might they serve as markers of a lost chapter in human civilization, one that hints at knowledge, technology, or contact far beyond what official histories record? As we explore further, we'll uncover the strange, compelling, and sometimes controversial theories surrounding China's hidden pyramids, and the tantalizing evidence that fuels their enduring mystery. The mystery of the Chinese pyramids truly begins with what is known, and more intriguingly, what remains unknown. For decades, these colossal structures were barely acknowledged outside of local folklore and brief mentions in ancient records. Even today, many remain largely unexcavated, shrouded by deliberate plantings of trees and dense underbrush, blending them seamlessly into the surrounding landscape as if to hide them in plain sight. The most famous example, the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor, is a known quantity in some respects, thanks largely to the discovery of the terracotta army. Yet the central tomb mound itself remains untouched. Ancient historian Sima Xi'an described a marvel within, a subterranean palace complete with replicas of rivers and seas made of flowing mercury, a ceiling encrusted with pearls to represent the stars, and traps rigged to protect the emperor's eternal rest. Ground-penetrating radar and soil analysis in modern times have detected unusually high levels of mercury in the area, suggesting that Sima Qian's seemingly fantastical account may have been grounded in reality. Still, the tomb remains sealed, a silent giant guarding its secrets beneath tons of earth. But Qin Shi Huang's tomb is just the tip of the iceberg. Scattered across Shanxi province and beyond are hundreds of other pyramidal mounds, many officially classified simply as burial sites for Han and Tang dynasty elites. Yet, curiously, little has been done to systematically explore these structures. Some estimates suggest there could be over 300 such mounds across China, many still undocumented or mischaracterized. Satellite imagery has revealed geometric patterns and alignments among these pyramids that are difficult to attribute purely to random placement. Some researchers claim that specific mounds align with significant constellations, such as Orion's belt, paralleling the celestial alignments famously found at Egypt's Giza Plateau. The precision of these alignments, if intentional, would suggest a sophisticated knowledge of astronomy and a deliberate cosmic symbolism embedded in the very layout of the imperial tombs. There are further peculiarities. A few early 20th century Western travelers and pilots, such as U.S. Army Air Corps pilot James Gaussman, reported seeing a giant white pyramid in the distance while flying over China during World War II. Gaussman described an immense gleaming structure that dwarfed anything seen in Egypt. Later, similar accounts surfaced, yet no formal identification of such a structure has ever been made, and no photographs have been definitively verified. Whether these reports were exaggerations, misidentifications, or sightings of a now eroded monument remains one of the many puzzles surrounding China's pyramids. What is certain is that these ancient structures remain among the least understood and least studied archaeological wonders of the ancient world. Their massive size, hidden nature, and the scarcity of systematic excavation leave a vast blank space in the historical record, one filled more by rumour and speculation than by concrete facts. As we continue to peel back the layers, we'll dive into the discoveries that have been made, the rare glimpses into the tombs' interiors and the tantalizing clues suggesting these pyramids may conceal far more than royal remains. Despite the heavy restrictions on excavation, a handful of discoveries have offered tantalizing glimpses into the secrets buried within China's ancient pyramids. These findings, while limited, hint at a culture that possessed not only immense engineering capabilities, but also a rich symbolic and spiritual worldview that shaped the construction of these grand monuments. One of the most significant discoveries came with the partial excavation of the Maoling Mausoleum, the tomb of Emperor Wu of the Han dynasty. Maoling is often referred to as the Great White Pyramid, due to its sheer size, towering over 150 feet high. Archaeologists uncovered richly adorned burial artifacts, including intricate jade suits designed to protect the body in the afterlife, exquisite pottery, and weapons of remarkable craftsmanship. These findings confirm that the ancient Chinese viewed the afterlife with the same complexity and grandeur as their mortal existence, building elaborate tombs not just as resting places, but as eternal palaces for the deceased. Similarly, excavations at smaller tombs surrounding the larger mounds revealed detailed murals, carvings, and artifacts depicting scenes of court life, religious rituals, and celestial events. These artistic relics often emphasized the emperor's divine connection to the heavens, a theme consistent with the notion that the pyramid structures themselves may have been designed to mirror cosmic principles. In recent decades, non-invasive techniques such as satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, and magnetometry surveys have provided additional evidence that many of these mounds are far more complex than previously assumed. Beneath the layers of packed earth lie intricate underground chambers, extensive passageways, and indications of carefully planned architectural features, possibly designed to deter tomb robbers or symbolize cosmological concepts. In the case of Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum, Remote sensing detected an immense subterranean structure far larger than initially imagined, with corridors stretching in multiple directions, possibly mimicking the layout of his empire. Despite the technological advances, Chinese authorities maintain a strict policy of non-intrusion, citing concerns over the preservation of what lies within. Their caution is understandable. Early excavations at the Terracotta Army site revealed that exposure to air led to rapid deterioration of the paint and materials, causing priceless artifacts to degrade before proper conservation methods could be applied. The limited evidence gathered so far points to an extraordinary level of sophistication. Ancient Chinese engineers were not merely piling up dirt, they were constructing symbolic landscapes meant to endure for eternity. The choice of materials, the astronomical alignments, and the lavish treasures interred all suggest that these tombs were far more than memorials. They were statements of cosmic order, imperial power, and spiritual transcendence. Yet for all that has been uncovered, the greatest secrets remain locked away beneath the soil. No one has set foot inside the central tomb of Qin Shi Huang. No one knows what treasures or revelations await within the untouched pyramids that dot the Shanxi plains. And so, tantalized by fragments of evidence and glimpses through the veil, we are left to wonder. What forgotten truths still lie hidden beneath China's ancient pyramids, waiting for the day when they might finally emerge into the light? Among scholars, the ancient Chinese pyramids have sparked spirited debate, both about what has been discovered and what remains stubbornly out of reach. While the general consensus agrees that these mounds served as burial sites for emperors and nobles, deep divides persist over the significance, construction methods, and hidden meanings embedded in their design. One of the major points of contention revolves around the astronomical alignments some researchers have identified. Studies conducted using satellite imagery and field surveys suggest that many of the larger pyramids appear to align with cardinal points, north, south, east, and west, with surprising accuracy. Others hint at alignments with specific celestial events, such as solstices or the rising of significant stars. Some scholars argue that these alignments were intentional, reflecting ancient Chinese cosmology, which placed great emphasis on harmony between heaven and earth. The emperor was seen as the son of heaven, and aligning his final resting place with the stars could be viewed as an eternal connection to the divine. Yet others caution against reading too much into these alignments. They point out that in regions with flat landscapes, such directional construction might have been as much practical as symbolic. Without detailed excavation and analysis, it remains difficult to distinguish deliberate design from coincidence. Another area of scholarly debate concerns the secrecy surrounding excavation policies. China's strict stance on leaving the tombs unopened until preservation technologies advance has been praised by many archaeologists who point to disastrous examples from the past where excavation led to irreversible damage. Others, however, believe the hesitation is about more than preservation. Some argue that political or cultural sensitivities are at play, that certain findings might challenge established narratives about the origins of Chinese civilization, or reveal influences from cultures long considered peripheral or non-existent by traditional histories. There are also debates about the true scale and number of the pyramids. Estimates vary widely depending on how one defines a pyramid versus a burial mound. Some historians believe that only a handful of true pyramidal structures exist, while others suggest that dozens, perhaps even hundreds, remain hidden beneath overgrown landscapes and farmlands, awaiting rediscovery. Controversy also swirls around early 20th century Western accounts of the so-called White Pyramid, allegedly far larger than any known today. While modern researchers have proposed candidates for the structure, such as the Maoling Mausoleum, no definitive identification has been made. Skeptics argue that the stories were exaggerated or confused by pilots unfamiliar with the local geography. Believers insist that a massive, undiscovered monument still lies hidden somewhere in the misty heart of China. Ultimately, scholarly debates surrounding the Chinese pyramids reflect a larger tension between caution and curiosity, between the desire to protect the past and the yearning to unlock its mysteries. Until the day comes when these monuments are fully explored, historians, Archaeologists and dreamers alike must content themselves with tantalizing glimpses and the endless possibilities they suggest. And as we'll soon see, where the scholars tread carefully, the dreamers and fringe theorists charge boldly ahead, offering their own wild and often astonishing interpretations of what these ancient pyramids might truly represent. Beyond the careful analyses of mainstream scholars lies a world of speculation that paints the ancient Chinese pyramids in an even more extraordinary light. For fringe theorists and alternative historians, these structures are not merely tombs. They are part of a lost history that stretches beyond the bounds of conventional archaeology. One of the most popular speculative theories suggests that the Chinese pyramids are far older than official records indicate. Some researchers propose that certain mounds date back not just thousands, but tens of thousands of years to a forgotten civilization that predates recorded history. According to this theory, dynasties like the Qin and Han may have simply repurposed structures that had already stood for millennia, adding their own layers to much older monuments. Proponents point to the erosion patterns on some of the mounds and the lack of detailed records regarding their construction as possible evidence of a far deeper antiquity. Even more provocative are claims linking the Chinese pyramids to extraterrestrial influence. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that the alignment of certain pyramids with celestial constellations is too precise to be coincidental. They suggest that ancient builders might have had assistance, or at least knowledge passed down from visitors not of this earth. The White Pyramid sightings, describing a perfectly smooth luminous monument towering over the landscape, are often woven into this narrative, hinting at a structure so advanced that it defies explanation within the framework of ancient human capabilities. Another fringe idea is that the pyramids were not just tombs or memorials, but were functioning energy devices, gigantic earthworks designed to harness natural geomagnetic forces. According to this view, the ancient Chinese may have understood how to manipulate the Earth's energy grid, using these massive structures as points of power for healing, communication, or even interstellar connection. This theory often draws comparisons to similar claims made about the pyramids of Egypt and the Mesoamerican structures of the Maya and Aztecs. Adding another layer to the speculation are whispers of secret tunnels and underground cities beneath the pyramids. Some conspiracy theorists suggest that entire subterranean complexes could exist, housing lost records, ancient technologies, or artifacts that would upend our understanding of human history. These ideas remain purely speculative, fueled more by imagination than hard evidence, yet they persist, captivating those who believe that history as we know it is incomplete. For many of these fringe theorists, the secrecy and reluctance of Chinese authorities to allow full exploration only adds fuel to the fire. If there is nothing extraordinary beneath the mounds, they argue, why maintain such strict control? Why cloak these structures in vegetation, restrict access, and delay excavation indefinitely? While mainstream archaeologists dismiss such ideas as fantasy, the allure of the unknown remains potent. In a world where so many ancient mysteries have been explained or catalogued, the Chinese pyramids represent a rare frontier, an unsolved enigma where fact, legend, and imagination continue to blur. As we near the conclusion of our journey, one thing becomes clear. Whether seen through the lens of science or speculation, the ancient pyramids of China hold a magnetic pull on the human spirit, drawing us toward the unknown, daring us to ask questions for which there are still no easy answers. The ancient Chinese pyramids leave us with more questions than answers, a rare mystery that continues to grow deeper with every fragment of discovery. As we pull together the strands of history, evidence, debate, and speculation, one thing becomes clear. These monuments represent something far more complex than simple tombs. They speak to a civilization that was deeply connected to the cosmos, a people who saw life, death, and the heavens as interconnected forces worthy of immense, lasting tributes. Whether or not all the pyramids align precisely with celestial bodies, the belief that the emperor held a divine mandate, linking the mortal realm with the stars, is unmistakably woven into their very design. We also see how history itself is fragile. The cautious excavation policies, the dense overgrowth, the sometimes spotty record-keeping from early Western encounters all contribute to a fog that obscures clear understanding. These mounds, towering silently over the landscape, refuse to yield their full story easily. They demand patience, care, and a willingness to sit with the unknown. And then there's the allure of what might lie just beyond the reach of accepted history. Fringe theories, while often dismissed, reflect something essential about human curiosity. The idea that these pyramids could be remnants of a lost civilization, markers of ancient technology, or even contact points with otherworldly visitors may stretch credibility, but they also tap into our enduring fascination with mysteries that defy neat explanation. Sometimes it is the wildest ideas that push exploration forward, even if only by inspiring new questions. In a world increasingly mapped and measured, the Chinese pyramids remind us that the past is still a frontier. Beneath layers of earth, hidden from casual view, secrets may still rest undisturbed, waiting for a future moment when technology, political will, and human imagination align enough to uncover them safely. Until that day comes, these ancient monuments will continue to loom over history like silent sentinels, protecting stories we have not yet earned the right to hear. The Chinese pyramids stand as symbols of power, mystery, and the unending quest for knowledge. Whether they ultimately reveal simple tombs or something far more profound, their existence challenges us to think bigger, to look closer, and to never accept the surface of things as the whole story. As we draw our journey to a close, the ancient pyramids of China leave us with a haunting invitation to wonder, to seek, and to remember that in every corner of the past, there are still legends waiting to be unearthed. In a world that sometimes feels completely explained, perhaps the greatest mystery of all is that some truths are still waiting, hidden beneath the earth, patient as stone. The ancient Chinese pyramids, veiled in layers of earth, secrecy and time, continue to stir both imagination and inquiry. Today we explored their shadowy presence across the Shanxi plains, massive structures that hint at a civilization's complex relationship with life, death, and the cosmos. We traced the known history behind these monuments, the evidence uncovered through cautious exploration, and the passionate scholarly debates that continue to surround their purpose and origin. We also stepped into the world of the speculative, where theories about lost civilizations, ancient technologies, and even extraterrestrial connections keep the pyramids firmly anchored in the realm of mystery. Whether grounded in archaeological evidence or the products of human fascination with the unknown, these ideas show just how powerfully these ancient structures capture our collective imagination. What makes the Chinese pyramids so compelling is not simply their scale or age, it's the way they remain unresolved. Unlike many other ancient wonders, they have not been fully excavated, documented, or explained. They stand in a rare liminal space between legend and reality, between what is known and what is still hidden. In that space, mystery thrives. In a world where technology has peeled back the layers of so many historical enigmas, the ancient pyramids of China remind us that some secrets are still out of reach. Perhaps they guard not only the legacy of ancient emperors, but also a broader truth about the endurance of mystery itself. The idea that not everything has been uncovered, and not everything is meant to be, at least not yet. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Ben Carter, and this has been another episode of Ancient Mysteries. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you would like to support the show, subscribe to Ancient Mysteries on Spotify. The link is in the description. Subscribe now.